Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be covering all of my favorite gear that I use for trail riding. Stay tuned.
Here we go, it's a dangerous show. Leave it all on the floor, let's roll.
Welcome back everybody to the Ride with the Knights YouTube channel. We have a super awesome video for you today talking about my 2023 trail riding setup. Early in the year, I spent a lot of time racing. This time of year in summertime, we go trail riding all the time. So it's my favorite time to bust out all sorts of cool equipment and gear that I use to help me navigate through the mountains, have a good time, stay safe, and communicate with some of my riding buddies. Remember that nearly all of the products that we're gonna be talking about today can be purchased through Rocky Mountain ATVMC. We will link descriptions to nearly all this stuff in the description below. You guys can shop Rocky Mountain ATVMC and support Ride with the Knights. So if you're interested in purchasing and picking up some of this gear for yourself and your own trail riding experience, check out the description below. So let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit about my motorcycle. I've owned this 2022 Sherco 300 SE Factory Edition for about 18 months, and these are phenomenal motorcycles. I really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoy competing on it. It's sometimes I have to adapt it a little bit to the type of racing that I'm doing because these are manufactured in France and their bread and butter is enduro. They're really good in the mountains and in enduro. So I absolutely love trail riding this thing. If you guys are interested in learning more about Sherco motorcycles, head over to motoexperts.com. Link is in the description. Moto Experts is a Sherco dealership here in Utah. They can help answer your questions and teach you a little bit more about these bikes. As far as the motorcycle goes, the engine is completely stock. I just have it jetted to my settings, and then I have a handful of protection parts, some radiator guards, a rear disc brake guard, a TM Designs chain guide. Both the radiator and brake guard are bulletproof designs. However, I have tested the Tusk products, and on some of our other bikes, we do have the Tusk ones and they work just as good. I have the FMF Gnarly pipe and turbine core 2.1 silencer on the rear, and the most important component is the custom valved Moto Experts suspension. These Sherco motorcycles come stock with KYB forks and shock, and with the custom valved Moto Expert suspension, this is all time. It makes the bike perform super awesome. My go-to tires for this motorcycle when I'm racing, I really like the Tusk MX lineup. If you're on a budget, they actually perform super good. We did a test where we compared these against the Dunlop tires, and you'll be really surprised at which one outperformed the other. So if you haven't watched that, here's the link to check that video out. So that's what I use when I'm racing. However, we just recently did some testing with these Tusk Talon hybrid gummy tires, and I think this is gonna be my new go-to setup for trail riding. We just ran them this last weekend. We're gonna have a full review on these tires coming out soon, but I was actually really impressed. They don't last as long as I'd like, but they do get really good traction. I run Moose inserts front and rear all the time, no matter what, racing or trail riding. It's just my absolute favorite thing to not even worry about flats. I do like to use the Rabaconda tire changer, and as far as my preference for Mooses, I don't really care which one. I replace them every 4 to 6 months, front and rear. I've ran all the brands. I used to run Michelin. I then switched over and I ran Nitro Moose. I really like the Nitro Moose ones. They're awesome. And then I've actually spent a lot of time running the Dunlop ones too. So I don't really have a preference over any of those. All three of them work really good in my opinion. I'd probably recommend the Nitro Moose ones. Those ones are really good. So for my handlebar setup here, I actually ran the stock Oxia bars for a long time, and I just recently switched over to these Pro Taper Evo bars this year. This is the YZ High Bend. Really like these handlebars. They perform a little bit better than the stock bars. So for my handlebar setup for trail riding, I actually changed this up a lot. I don't have any of this on when I'm racing, and then I add all this when I go out trail riding to give me a little bit extra comfort. So this is a giant loop handlebar pad. Tusk actually makes one as well. We just tested that this last weekend. I do prefer the giant loop one. It's a little bit more compact and has a little bit better design to kind of snug and hold on to the handlebars a little bit better, but both of them work better. The Tusk one's about 20 bucks cheaper, so if you're looking to save a little bit of money, you could pick up the Tusk one. So what I use this for is I used to store my phone in here and kind of those quick little goodies, your chapstick or whatever that you need pretty quickly. But I recently, last year, changed this up a little bit, and I have this Tusk 12-volt dealio here that I've wired into my battery on my motorcycle. And what this allows me to do is it gives me 2 USB ports right here. And I click this thing on right here, plug in my iPhone cable, which I've got right here. Once you've plugged in your iPhone cable, then you can actually just plug your phone in like so and start charging your phone. You don't want to do this when your bike's not running because you're going to drain your battery, but as you're riding, it easily keeps your phone charged. So that way I have my phone battery all day out in the mountains. Sometimes I'm using this to film different content or just for communication if I need it. Works really good. So I actually just kind of tuck this whole dealio up in here and zip it up. And then I've got the end of the cable sticking out right here. And that allows me to kind of charge my phone. This pairs really good with this phone mount, which is a quad lock handlebar phone mount. So you can check these out at Quad Lock. I don't know if they sell these on Amazon. I think I purchased it directly through their website, but I've been really impressed with this. It's a little bit of an investment because you have to get the phone case as well as the mount. But this is the handlebar mount paired with the vibration dampener. So if you look closely, it's got these little rubber dampeners. Your phone clicks right in. I've only ever had this fall off one time, and it was because I had it mounted too far forward and the brake line hit the top of the phone and popped it off. So I think with eliminating that and with proper mounting, I have had nearly 100% success with this, and I've ridden it on some gnarly trails. I've ridden it for 3 or 4 days in Idaho. We just got back from a huge trip where we were riding 2 or 3 days on some super difficult trails, and it never pops off. I hopped probably 1,000 logs over the weekend, and this thing stayed there the whole time. So I've been really impressed with the integrity of this phone mount. And with my setup right here, I can actually just leave it plugged in all day, just like that. My favorite part about this setup is that I can navigate all day long on my maps. I prefer to use Gaia GPS. If you guys are interested in learning all the details or kind of the full review of all this stuff, you can check out our online course. Head over to ridewithnights.com. It's a monthly subscription, but we dive deep into all this. I help you guys learn how to use these different apps and navigate the mountains and learn the trail systems in your area. But I just use this and I leave the map on all day. Usually I have tracks from previous rides or a general route that we're following that day. I love maps, I nerd out on them, so I always like to have this visible while I'm riding so I can constantly check it. Let's jump into some of the riding gear that I use. My favorite go-to helmet is the Fly Formula helmet. These are lightweight, super safe, one of my favorite ones, and in my opinion, one of the safest ones on the market. I pair that with a Django Designs chin mount for your action cameras. This is a really convenient way to mount your camera. I used to mount them up under the visor, but it can get really difficult trying to start and stop the camera in that position. So the chin mount works really good, and I've actually learned to actually appreciate the footage from the chin mount area a little bit more. My go-to POV camera right now is the GoPro Hero Black. This is a Hero 10. I think the 11's out and the 12 will probably come out this year. I've been using this for all of my POV videos for the last year or two. Works really good. Probably gonna upgrade a couple of those soon to try some different things out. The gear that I'm wearing right now is the MSR NXT lineup. This is the Air edition, so it's perforated really well. Has a ton of mesh and air movement that's gonna go through there. I've been wearing it during these summer months. It's been super comfortable. I really like the MSR gear so far. I wore Fly gear for a long time, and Fly makes awesome products. I really love Fly racing gear. It was really comfortable, and I just switched over and tried this MSR gear out for a change, and I've been really impressed. Honestly, I wear the heck out of it. I ride all the time, and I don't really notice any really big drawbacks. It's comfortable, it fits me well, and the Air Edition is really lightweight and it's really affordable. So you can check out that MSR gear at Rocky Mountain and pick up some gear for yourself. I would really recommend the Air lineup of the NXT during the summer months because it's so hot, it feels great to wear. Next up is my all-time favorite riding vest. This is the Climb Arsenal vest, and as you can tell, it's got a lot of storage capacity. It's got pockets and zippers all over. So this is really gonna depend on your needs as a rider. But for us, we spend a lot of time trail riding in the summer, and we love it so much. We're so addicted to riding that we just can't stop riding. So we literally just pack up and go until dark. And so we just need the biggest packs possible to take as much water, as much food, and as much gear as we can fit, because we won't stop riding. So the best solution to that, in my opinion, is the Klim Arsenal. I haven't tried all of the vests. I have tried the OGO flight vest, and I do like this vest a lot better. I do recommend for racing the Usui hydration packs. They work really good if you have the back setup. And I recently tried the Liat fanny pack hydration pack that I raced at Idaho City, and I actually had some really good experiences with that, and we'll probably start using that moving forward. But this is my trail riding setup. So what I do with this is I have these bigger deep pockets on the side where I can fit some bigger items like a rain jacket or this saw that we'll cover in just a second. And then on the front, we have all these different, we have these bigger pouches in the lower area where I usually stick a lot of my snacks and food. Sometimes I'll put a drone or some audio equipment in there. These upper pockets are felt lined and usually work pretty good for like your cell phone or different things in there. And this vest, despite how big and bulky it looks, is actually super comfortable. My shoulders will get a little sore after wearing this for a couple days, but I will load this thing up with tons and tons of gear. It probably weighs about 25, 30 pounds when it's fully loaded, and it just feels like a bear is giving you a nice hug all day long. It doesn't move around much. It does get a little warm. That's why I went with this lighter color for my new one. I have an old black one that would get a little bit warmer, but for trail riding, I haven't found a better solution yet. They're super comfortable. Let's move over to this saw. So I am gonna be working on getting a chainsaw set up for the upcoming months. But if you're not quite yet ready to convert to a chainsaw setup, don't feel like you can't contribute to the trails without a chainsaw. These Silky saws are pretty inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon. This is the Silky Big Boy 360. I think that might be 360 millimeters of saw teeth right here. Anyways, I'll link this in the description. These saws are fantastic. They're super good. They're lightweight, they fold down, and you can fit them in all sorts of different places in your riding pack. And you can cut through some serious logs with these. It does take some musculos, some extra muscles to get through some logs, but we've been pretty happy with using these, especially if you have a couple guys in your riding crew that carry these. You can get through some big old 12-inch, 14-inch logs on the trail, contribute to the trail systems, help maintain the trails, and save your bacon when you're stuck out in the hills. So another cool feature of this Klim Arsenal vest is the tool pack that is attached to the back. So you've got these 3 buckles that loop through the straps and hold this to the back. Let's go ahead and look at some of the tools that I've got in this setup right here. This is what my toolkit looks like when you open it up. We will quickly go through some of the tools inside here. So starting over here on this side, we have this axle wrench, which is manufactured by Enduro Engineering. It comes with a 30 and a 27 millimeter right there. That fits the Shurkos. So this works really well for your Shurkos. It also comes with this little adapter that you can fit in. I think that converts it down to maybe a 17. So we've got some needle nose pliers over in this middle section of the pouch. We have some great tools. I often carry a bundle of zip ties or a little bit of wire tie. We have this Tusk T-handle right here with an 8 millimeter, a 10, and a 13, as well as a bunch of other sockets in here. You've got a 12, I think a 6, Torx on there, a T, can't remember the T35 or T45 Torx, Phillips, and flathead screwdriver adapter there. So you've got a couple different options with this T-handle. That's a really good tool, really inexpensive, gives you enough leverage to access a lot of different bolts on your motorcycle, so you could pick those up. Check out the description to buy one of those. This is a open-ended ratcheting 10 millimeter. That works good for like your rim locks and stuff. We've got a spoke wrench right here to keep your spokes nice and tight. We've got a pocket knife right there in case you're doing some type of modification on the trail that needs a pocket knife. Often carry, this is actually a front brake lever. I would prefer and recommend usually carrying a clutch lever if you're gonna carry a spare lever. These are Tusk. You can pick these up really inexpensive. They're lightweight, put them in your pack and can save your bacon out on the trail. Moving over to this pouch here on the side, we've got a whole bunch of other cool stuff. We've got an extra spark plug, brand new spark plug right there, some thread lock, a rear brake spring, return spring to replace the one that's not even on my bike right now. Here's a great one to have. This is a spare drain bolt. Keep this in your pack in case you lose one of those out on the trail. Here's some flint and steel if you're looking to start a fire on the trail and sleep with the bears. It's pretty good to have. A big old bag of miscellaneous bolts and nuts. We've got all sorts of different size bolts, metric bolts that will fit the European bikes, some banjo bolts for your brake system. Tusk makes really awesome bolt kits that come with all sorts of different bolts. They make this 170 piece kit that you can get that I like to keep in my garage, or they make a little one, which is actually what's in here that you can carry on the trail. We've got a spare radiator cap, oil filler plug, and that's a crush washer for your drain bolt. And then this is the Brembo brake pad pin. So all sorts of cool stuff in my tool bag. A couple other really cool things to have on the trail when you're trail riding in the middle of nowhere are some radios. We like to use these Baofeng radios. There's a couple different models. This one is one of the newer generations, the F8 HP. You can buy these on Amazon. This one was like 60 bucks. You can also pick up these extended push to talk buttons. So the way I actually rig this up is you can plug in this puppy right here, like so, and then I'll actually put the radio in my pack and route this push to talk button up over my shoulder so that it's right there close by so that I always have access to my radio. So this is actually an 8-watt Baofeng radio, and it's important to recognize that depending on which model radio you have, you may be required to have a what's called a GMRS license to legally transmit on certain GMRS frequencies or FRS frequencies. It's pretty straightforward to get. It's only like 20 or 30 bucks, and I think it even lasts like 10 years. So you'll have to check out some other radio channels on YouTube to learn more about that. But we've been using these radios for years, and they work fantastic, especially in line of sight. You can communicate really well with some of your other riding buddies, and it makes a huge difference to have communication on the trail, especially when you're navigating areas that are really remote. We prefer this setup. We will likely do some more testing in the future with some Cardo stuff, but the Cardos, these will transmit a lot farther than Cardo, and any of those Bluetooth ones, you have to be a lot closer. Another good item to have when trail riding is some type of light. I would likely, in the later months of the year, get a better setup for the headlight on the front, maybe a Baja Designs one. There's lots of cool lights for the Sherco, but this time of year when it's summer, usually, I mean, it's light till 9:30 out, so you usually are doing pretty good. However, a good alternative setup is this Django Designs Quick Fire Mini Light. These can snap right into a lot of the POV camera mounts, like the GoPro ones, and you have a battery that you can put in your pack, put this light right up on your helmet, and it works really good. So this is a good system to have that you can charge up, keep in your pack, and will get you off the mountain. Depending on which mode you're using, the battery can last up to a couple hours, so it works really good. So that's it for my 2023 trail riding setup. This is kind of the accumulation of a lot of different equipment and gear that I've been using for years, trying different things out and kind of forming and molding my setup. But this setup right here, if you replicate that, works fantastic for trail riding. It gives you a lot of good stuff to have to maintain your motorcycle, a lot of great communication equipment, a lot of stuff to help maintain the trails, do your part to keep our trails alive, and also just get yourself out of the mountains if you got to cut through some stuff, and a great motorcycle. If you guys are interested in picking up any of these products, just click the link in the description below, shop Rocky Mountain ATVMC. That will support Ride with the Knights, allow us to keep making videos for you guys. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoy the content, and drop a comment below sharing what types of videos you guys would like to see in the future. And as always, if you're interested in improving your off-road riding skills and learning more about trail riding, head over to ridewiththeknights.com. There we have our monthly subscription with over 200 different training videos teaching you guys all about the attack position, off-road obstacles, and how we trail ride, really diving into our setup and teaching you guys how to use the app, the Gaia app, navigate the mountains, and build different routes in your area. So if you're interested, head over to ridewiththeknights.com. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you guys out on the trail.